Yes. When we are working with the extensible flux fields also similar to descriptive flux field, but additionally we can go for add the multiple rows allowed. It means for a single record, you can go for add multiple rows in the same page. That's the major advantage, and also we can go for implement the security. So the moment when we choose the category here, it will shows the list of pages, assignment pages information we have. Right now, I want to create my own context for employee assignment. Context is nothing but a group of segments or columns, whatever we would like to show it to the user. Here we are going to create our own context. Let me provide the context name as data context. Code is this. API name system will take automatically. We don't need to go for enter this. In fact, it won't allow us also. API stands for Application Programming Interface. When technical consultants are working, when they try to pull the data or push the data into this particular context, instead of using the name or code, they use this particular API name. Okay. So that's the advantage of the API, which is required for technical consultants. Here we can see the major difference between the DFF and EFF. So multiple rows we do not have in descriptive flux field. Only in extensible flux fields we have. So I'm going to configure this particular context with multiple rows, choose that. And whenever we go for multiple rows, after we select, when you want to configure your segments, nothing but your fields, right now it is disabled. Because it will be enabled only when you click the save button, unless and until it will not be saved. But when we try to click save button, it is showing error messages. At least one context usage should be associated. So whatever the context we are going to create now, make sure that at least in one page it should be used. Where exactly you want to use this? So there is option here, context usages. Click on this. And we are supposed to specify in which page you are trying to do employee assignment page. Select that. And you would like to go with any view privileges, edit privileges you wanted to provide, then we can provide that information. Okay, so now I mentioned at least one context uses, save this. After we save, then we can find here create option. Now we can go for configure the segment within this particular context. Okay, let's go for create here. And Tata, let's say I'm putting minimum salary. Number data type. For extensible flux fields, it takes information columns. For descriptive flux fields, it takes attribute columns. For key flux fields, it takes segment columns internally in the database tables, which is very important. You have to remember. And for extensible flux fields, at least one column should be unique because this information will be saved in another table, not in the same tables in the database point of view. So when the information is saved in another table, we must join these two tables. If we want to join the tables, make sure that one column at least should be unique, not the duplicates. Okay, that will be the reference column. That's the reason we must enable at least one column as unique. Otherwise, it won't allow us. For example, we'll try to do that. And I'm using the value set Tata format only because we want to allow the numbers. Let me just go for value set here, format only. And display size, I'm trying to put it as 11 and then go for save this. And I'm going to create another segment, Tata maximum salary here. Same value set, I'm going to use this. If we want to make it as mandatory, we can set this checkbox to make it as mandatory. And if you want to set some default values, can be done here. 5,000, 4,200, because while creating this value set, we have specified the minimum value, right? You can see the value settings here. 120 is the minimum, maximum number is 9,000. That's why I have specified some value 4,200. That's okay. So save and close. Two segments we have created successfully. Click save button. Now we can find here multi-row context should have at least one unique key defined. So you have mentioned minimum salary and maximum. You are supposed to mention at least one column as unique. Otherwise, it won't allow us to go for save this. Let's go for save it. Save and close here. Now we have defined this segments successfully, and we also enabled uses save and close. Go for save and close. Our context is ready. Select category. Go to associated context. First, we have to choose our context, whatever we have created. Go to the tab called associated contexts. Click on this. What is our context name? Tata context. Select. After that, go to the pages. But before you go to the pages, we must save it. It's mandatory. Otherwise, we don't find our context in the pages tab. Save it. After we save, go to the page where you wanted to go for display this. You have assignment extra information. Is the already extensible flex field you have. In that assignment extra information, it means here. In this particular extensible flex field, I wanted to show somewhere here. As per the sequence, it will be displayed. Select. Go for save and close. Now the extensible flex fields had been edited. We have to go for deploy it. Deploy the flex field here. Now system is going to validate the segments, whatever we have created, value sets, whatever we have used, and the properties, whatever we have enabled, like checkboxes, and also the contexts, which has been associated with the pages. This all setups are done properly. Any of the setup is missing. Any of the objects are disabled status. This all system is going to verify and go for deploy it in the applications. Now deployment is going to happen here. Now successfully we got deployment over here. Okay. So let's come back to our employee page here. So we can't find immediately. Just log out and log into the applications and cross check this. We have configured extensible flex field successfully. Now we are going to test it, whether it's working or not. go to user menu. Here it is optional whether you would like to go for a highlight the flex field in the page or not. It's optional, not mandatory. Let's go to navigator here. And now let me open the page. Hire an employee here. So we added some additional field, right? Descriptive flex field, maximum salary, but it is optional, not mandatory. If it is mandatory, if you check the checkbox called required, you will get like this, right? Here. Now this is our extensible flux field assignment. EAT information, EFF. This context is built in. This one was built in. This is what we have configured. Data context. Okay, so here I can find some information. Two fields. We mentioned that it is multi-row allowed, right? Multi-row is allowed. This is enabled. So I can enter see minimum salary, maximum salary. I said minimum salary is mandatory, maximum salary is optional. That's why star mark is not there. And maximum salary, I also mentioned default value here. So minimum 120 should be entered. So I can enter multiple rows here itself. Like this. That is the advantage. For descriptive flex field is not like that. Just we have to enter the data and we have to close save. When it comes for extensible flux field, you have the facility to provide single row. Single row means it will be like this. See here you can just enter only one row. You will not have an option like this to enter multiple records. Yeah. Okay. So that's the advantage of extensible flex field. Major difference between the DFF and extensible flex field is this. It's very common requirement. As a functional consultant also, we are supposed to configure when we are working in Fusion ERP, whether it is finance or HCM or supply chain management. But we have to remember 2 to 3 scenarios. Like this example, it can be explained by human capital management consultant. And for finance and supply chain management, like locations and requisitions, purchase orders, account payables, invoice, supplier page also we got additional fields, DFF, extensible flex fields. If you want to know you have the fields or not, what we have to do is we need to go to the flex field and we have to search with that name. For example, I want to know, are there any descriptive flex field with the supplier? Do we have any DFF with the particular supplier? So what we have to do is we have to go to the page, descriptive flex field page, and then we have to search, right? Let's go to task list here. We can do it from here also, no problem. But better, we will get all the flex fields here. Go to implementation, search for an existing implementation project. You can choose any implementation project, not a problem. We can go for add flex fields menu. So go for add. We are going to add flex field menu. Menu is nothing but a task list. Search for define flex. That's what we are trying to do it here. This is our flex field menu. Descriptive flex field I want to know. Any descriptive flex fields are available for supplier. We cannot create new descriptive flex field. Right now what we are trying to do is we are trying to customize the existing descriptive flex field. DFF is already there. We are trying to customize that. So I'm not getting here. Yeah, supplier. See, a lot of DFFs. Supplier profile, supplier site level we have, supplier return line, supplier negotiation lines everywhere. Even for invoice also. Invoice header level we have, invoice distributions, invoice lines, invoice payments, invoice transactions everywhere. This is about searching for the descriptive flex field. Same thing, extensible flex field. Module wise also we can search here. For supplier, we don't have any descriptive flex field. Let's say I wanted to search for a particular module. Like to work with options management. We don't have any options management. So when we want to work with particular extensible flex field, either we have to go to that particular page and find the name of the extensible flex field and we can search here. Let's say in human capital management, let's go for options management module. And when we try to work with options reasons, okay, when we try to create an options reasons, we can find here legislative information and we can find descriptive information. So these two are additional fields whenever we want to attach. So if at all we want to know exact names, we can enable the flex field, highlight flex field. We can find here, this is one of the descriptive flex field. This is one of the descriptive flex field. This is another descriptive flex field which we have. So it's going to open the page directly the moment when we select it here. So here, let's say, what is this? Options reasons, descriptive flex field. We want to go for modify this, it can be modified according to the requirement here. It's already in successful stage. Configure. But it is a disabled status right now. We are not able to edit. Yeah, that is based on the legislation, it will work. I'm not sure about it, why it is disabled. Here we have done in global HR when we are working with the employee. Additional fields means extensible flex field. We have the descriptive flex fields in options management here. Let's go to options. open the options, reasons or certifications, plans, options types, or even we can find in additional fields like here. Wherever we find the additional fields like descriptive flux field, we can get it here. Let's say options reasons. As we have enabled a highlight flux field, so that's showing that information here. Let's go to here directly, descriptive information, configure it. Go to edit this. This is similar as usual. We'll try to add the segments here. Current location. So I would like to have some built-in value set 30 characters. We wanted to allow here it is. Default value, I wanted to say that built-in location is New York. Display size, save and close. The value New York is too large. The value set 30 characters. The value cannot be greater than the maximum value 1. Now we are getting error message here. You are using value set called 30 characters. Just name is 30 characters only, but actual definition of this value set will allow only 1 character. Like that they have configured. But your default value has got around 7 characters. Then it's showing error message. Okay, so click view value set button. Remove it for time being. Click value set button. View value set. Maximum length 30. Minimum value 1 as mentioned. Remove it. Maximum value, sorry. Maximum value is mentioned 1. That's why it is not allowing. Let's go for save and close. Now it will allow us to enter the default values. Constant. I'm putting it as New York. Seems still it is not saved. Let me just cancel it and come back again. Just check the value set here. Okay, it's been removed. Now I'm going to set the constant value here. It's New York. We go for save this segment. Then go for save and close. And after that, let's go for save and close this context and deploy the flex field. If we work for any descriptive flex field or extensible flex field, the sequence of steps are common. But only the thing is the values might be different. The client will give us what are the fields we are supposed to add and what are the value sets required. According to that, we will go for configure and just add those things to this one. Now let's go for test. Still that field is not added here. Just log out and log in. Generally not required. It's automatically deployed and updated in the application main pages. Let's go to options reasons here. Try to create the transaction. You can find here current location, and New York is the default. Let's say like this, the transaction can be saved. So when we want to go for add additional fields in the page, we'll be using the descriptive flex fields over here. This is about the extensible flex fields here and descriptive flex fields here. Thank you.